All right. Hey, YouTube, I'm Lucky, and the Destiny community is absolutely torn right now, and Trials is having a real identity crisis. People are trying to decide whether or not this new matchmaking is good or bad for the player base. Obviously, we have content creators and high skill players on one side of the fence, and then we have lesser skilled players on the other side of the fence. And there's also people all over the place because these new matchmaking changes are pretty crazy, and it's definitely tearing the community apart. If you haven't seen the arguing and the drama, it has been crazy on Twitter. I mean, the last few days has been nothing but Trials tweets, tweet after tweet after tweet. All the Bungie devs are chiming in, giving their opinions, giving their thoughts, giving their ideas. All of the community members, in terms of like YouTubers, Twitch streamers, are all giving their thoughts and opinions. It is a crazy all-out war. YouTubers are uploading videos now. It has become a gigantic conversation. I wanted to bring this video here to y'all to give you my opinions, okay? So last week we had the big revamp of Trials of Osiris. It was a huge success. We had 750,000 players. 25% of the population went flawless, which is actually extremely impressive because if you didn't know, and I don't have the exact numbers on this, but I remember hearing a number back in D1. I think it was like 12% of the player base went flawless in Destiny 1 Trials of Osiris during that time period. So for roughly double that to go flawless in Destiny 2 during one weekend is a really, really good percentage. It's a big win for Bungie in terms of trying to get more people to go flawless. Obviously, there's a lot of controversies and a lot of different opinions that can come from this, where people could say, oh, well, you've lowered the bar of flawless because of, solo queues, matching solo queues at the game 7, 5-0ing them. And obviously, Bungie is trying to remedy some of those issues. The first thing I want to say in regards to Trials, though, in regards to the changes, I'm a big fan of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I even tweeted that out, and a lot of people liked that. If Trials ain't broke, don't fix it. If things are working well, if people are happy, if more people are getting flawless now than ever before, if more people are playing Trials now than ever before, what are you trying to fix, Bungie? Like, what is it that you're trying to fix? What is it that you're trying to do? What they've done this week, to give you the full big picture, is that last week you would just play endlessly and you continued to match people that were of 4 wins or higher. I believe there's 2 pools of players. There was 3 wins and under and 4 wins and higher. And so as soon as you got past 4 wins, you faced a little bit tougher matches. And if you were 3 wins and under, you faced a little bit of easier matches. That's my kind of understanding. I know that the exact algorithm for Trials is immensely more complicated than that. It's not simplistic as connection-based, connection-based, or card-based, or skill-based. Those are like the 3 categories people talk about. It's way, way, way more elaborate than that. But that was the gist I got from last weekend. This weekend, they're trying to do flawless-based matchmaking. This is a brand new terminology and idea that they're presented, where when you go flawless in Trials, you only match other people that have been flawless. So when you try to go flawless your second time, games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all going to be against other people who have previously gotten flawless that weekend. And so essentially what that does is it makes your matches a lot harder after going flawless. And you think to yourself, well, that's not very fun, right? If you go flawless, you don't want it to be so much harder the second time, third time, so on and so forth, right? But if you look at things on the other side of the coin, it's pretty easy to see why Bungie would do this. They want players that have never been flawless to not have to match people that have been flawless. They think that it's a bit unfair if a team of 0.5 KD, players that have been playing for a couple months have to match 2.5 KD players that have been flawless 1,000 times each, right? That's not a fair matchup at any point on a Trials card, really. But I will say that, Trials is meant to be end game content, and you will match really tough people at times, regardless of how you set up the matchmaking, right? It's going to happen. And there is always going to be in PvP that competitive nature. And with competition, there's always going to be a hierarchy. And there's going to be people at the top that are going to, be there for a reason because they invest so much time or they have so much talent or whatever it may be. And there's going to be people at the bottom, no matter what, of any hierarchy, regardless of Trials or PvP. So that's an unfortunate reality of PvP, an unfortunate reality of the way Trials are structured, where you need to get 7 wins. There will always be a hierarchy. There's no way you're going to make it so that 100% of the people go flawless. And if you did make it, then you would essentially make the loot as uninteresting, right? It would be a lot less desirable, because having that exclusivity, having something that not everyone has, gives a lot of appeal to the game, in my opinion. Let me know if you disagree. some might disagree and say, well, everyone should have a god roll of every weapon, but I think that the exclusivity is kind of nice. It kind of feeds into like the power fantasy of Destiny. But that aside, what a lot of people are doing now, and the controversy that's coming up now, is that all content creators, all YouTubers, Twitch streamers are like, no, this is lame, this sucks, because of the dynamic of carries, right? Not because of the dynamic of them being good players having to match other good players, which is where a lot of people are going wrong. On Twitter, Reddit, I see it in my Twitch chat. They're like, oh, wow, complaining because you have to match other good players instead of getting to bully other, easy wins, right? It's like, it's not like that at all. It's not how it is. I'm not just running stacked trying to destroy other people. I'm trying to carry people. I'm trying to help people that have never been flawless. So my agenda is to try and get flawless for their sake, not for my own sake. I don't care. I don't need flawless. You know what I'm saying? I've done this like hundreds and hundreds of times now. I've had flawless. So I'm not interested in that for myself. I'm doing it for others because it's fun for me to help them. And so that dynamic is getting ruined, and that dynamic is getting ruined because of this new matchmaking. And it's especially frustrating because there's literally, it's been presented by Bungie many, many times before that you should play with your friends, you should be able to play with your friends, and even carry culture has been brought into trials where you actually have an emblem that shows how many people you've carried in trials. And so to create a new matchmaking system that essentially stifles carries and helping people and playing with your friends of different skill levels is a bit frustrating. And that's where the sort of content creator, YouTuber side, like their main argument is like, you can't do carries as much with this matchmaking. It's not as much fun. It's way more frustrating. It's way more stifling to the replayability of trials post going flawless. And so what a lot of people have resorted to is actually doing a sort of workaround where they just get 6 wins on their card and then they reset their cards so that they never get flawless and they never get put into that flawless matchmaking pool. So now we have people sort of, I don't know if you'd call it exploiting, but you have exploiting the system to a certain degree. So that's creating some frustrations and some rifts within the community because people are like, wow, I can't believe you're doing that. You're cheesing the system of sorts. So there's the content creators, the little bit of cheese. And then obviously on the other side of the fence, you have a large pool of people, the 75% of people that didn't go flawless last week, who are like, this is awesome, this is great. I'm matching a lot less sweaty teams. I'm matching a lot less, teams of people that have been flawless so many times, and I'm able to get my first flawless. And so that pool of people is going to be a much bigger pool, obviously 75% compared to 25%. So that's a much bigger pool, but they're not the influential pool. They're not the YouTubers. They're not the Twitch streamers. So they don't have as big of a voice per se. They have a big voice on like forums for upvoting posts on Reddit, the Bungie forums, wherever it may be, stuff like that. So their voice is heard through those posts a little bit more, but that's really where the war is. And that's where the true identity crisis of Trials is what is Trials meant to be? Is Trials meant to be a competitive experience? It's designed and called by itself by Bungie as like a weekend tournament. So is it meant to have competitive elements comparable to a tournament? Or is Trials, the bar for flawless, meant to be lowered to such a degree that it will be effectively a variation of Iron Banner, right? Iron Banner has no true competitive element to it. You play Iron Banner, you beat your bounties, you get weapons. You win the match, you get like your 5 tokens. You lose the match, you get 2 tokens. It's not a big deal, right? You just play Iron Banner. If you win, awesome. If you lose, who cares, right? There's no competitive element to it. It's basically just a playlist to play PvP and get loot. It's a loot grab, right? That's all it is. There's no real competitive element to Iron Banner. And that's the next PvP pinnacle activity below Trials. So then if you go from Iron Banner up the hierarchy to Trials, then how competitive do we want to make Trials is really the question that I think Bungie is struggling with here. And the community is struggling with here is how competitive should Trials be? My opinion, I'll give my opinion. I know there may be some backlash in the comments, and that's totally okay if you have a difference of opinion. My opinion is that the flawless element to Trials should be quite competitive, but the other loot should be pretty effortless. It should be to the Iron Banner level degree. You should be able to get, the regular Igneous Hammer, the regular Reed's Regret Linear Fusion. You should be able to get the Sniper, all those weapons pretty effortlessly, but getting the Adept version of them should be pretty tough. I think that should be something you strive to aspire towards getting, and should be pretty exclusive to a small percentage of the player base. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about all this drama? How do you weigh in on it? Make sure to subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all the news and drama in Destiny 2. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.